So this was a big hit in the history of the mafia. I'm watching this for the first time. It's the Gambino family, Gotti years, the Gangster Chronicles, and I'm going to watch it with you guys. But I may stop it from time to time and give you my opinion, what's right, what's wrong, or stuff like that. There's a lot of you guys got in touch with me and told me you watched it on the History Channel, okay? And they told me about it, and I couldn't answer them because I says I didn't even see it. So I'm going to watch it now.
This is Gangland Chronicles.
Well, the beginning of it sounds pretty good. It's pretty well done. It's definitely worth watching as far as I can see right now. So I'm going to get deeper into it before I start shutting it off and making comments on it, and if I have to. But if I don't have to, I won't be doing that.
1985, New York City. 5 Italian mafia families run the city, but the Gambino crime family is the largest, wealthiest, and most brutal among them.
The Gambino family was known to be a ruthless family.
The family officially gets their name in 1957, when underboss Carlo Gambino orders the hit of the reigning Don, or boss, Albert Anastasia. Gambino raises the family's
That was a big hit. Albert Anastasia was a major player and extremely dangerous, and he had a big following, a big crew, a couple of big powerful crews. And Carlo Gambino and Anastasia hated each other. Anastasia was definitely trying to get rid of Carlo Gambino, but Carlo Gambino had too many friends, and Carlo Gambino beat him to the punch and wind up killing him.
Profits and power as the head of the commission, the governing body of the Italian-American mafia in the U.S. When Gambino dies in 1976, his cousin, Paul Castellano, a capo, rises to the top. Castellano runs the family with underboss Neil Della Croce and consigliere Joseph Gallo. Under them,
they're talking now about after Paul is dead. After Carlo Gambino has died, Paul becomes the boss, Neil is the underboss, and Joseph and Gallo becomes the consigliere. And that's in 1976. He dies. I was brought into that family, and in 1976, I get made. And it was under Paul Castellano. So right after Carlo Gambino died, I was put under Toto Arello, who was a very powerful captain, Carlo Gambino's right-hand man, and I was made an acting captain for him in 1977, 1 year later.
Are over 20 capos, upwards of 200 soldiers.
Now they just said there's 20 capos. It's not a big deal, but there was 21 capos, 21 capodegines in the family, and they said 200 made guys. There was more like 300 or 350 made guys.
By the mid-1980s, the family is making $500 million a year, $1.4 billion today.
The mob controlled unions. It was involved in illegal gambling. It was involved in loan sharking.
Plus, they were making millions in legitimate businesses. All the nightclubs they owned, all the gay bars they owned, all the pawn stores, everything.
But no matter how much the family is raking in, Castellano wants a bigger and bigger take. 1985, Staten Island. Paul Castellano is making an estimated $15 million a year, $43 million today.
They said he was making $15 million a year, 40 in this time in age. That's crazy. I remember one time going to Paul's house, and Tommy Bellotti was taking suitcases from his kitchen down into the basement. And when I came in, he said, help Tommy bring these suitcases down there. There was 4 of them left. I took 2 and Tommy took 2, and we brought them down. Tommy says, open them up. They opened them up. There was money in it. And he said, take it out, put the hundreds on the hundreds, the 50s on the 50s, the 20s, the 10s, stack it up. I started doing that. After about an hour of doing that, and we didn't get through all of the suitcases, I've never seen so much money in cash in my life. And I had seen $1 million or $2 or $3 at one time. Back then, that was a lot of money, but nothing like this. And I remember telling Tommy Bellotti, do we have to count this? And he said, no, we'll be here weeks if we have to count it. We just stack it up, put some rubber bands around them, and then we break it up. Because, it was just, you could only stack the hundreds so high, then you'd have to start making another stack and another stack. Same thing with the 50s and 20s and everything else. I have never seen anything like it. So these numbers they're right, but they're very low.
He would get rolls of bills brought up to him weekly, but he wanted more.
One capo in Queens has a major problem with the boss's greedy ways. His name is John Gotti. Gotti is in Castellano's bad books because members of his crew, including his brother Gene, have been indicted for running drugs with an ambitious soldier named Sammy the Bull Gravano. And the two see their opening 14 days after Della Croce dies of cancer.
Now, it seems like Gotti made this move because of Paul Castellano having greed. And that's total bullshit. The whole thing happened when he got caught and his friends and family got caught, his whole crew, for dealing drugs. They also were talking about other bosses in the family, in the commission. They were knocking them. But those tapes went to the government. And the government brought in everybody. DEA, New York Organized Crime Group, NYPD, FBI, everybody. And they took those tapes to judge. And right across the board, when they listened, the judges listened to these tapes, they put out reasons and a legitimate way where they can bug everybody's house, cars, restaurants, every place that they are. All the bosses, underbosses, and concierges. Eventually, these tapes were used in the commission case. So it wasn't even just about the drugs, which was the main thing, but the drugs got them caught. They were talking about the drugs. They were the killer was what they were saying about all the bosses, underbosses, concierges, names, what positions they had in their families, and what kind of guys they were, who did drugs, who didn't do drugs, who did this and who did that, what unions they were controlling. The tapes were so damaging. It actually was the beginning, if they want to say it right, of the takedown of the entire mafia.
December 16th, 1985, Midtown Manhattan. Gotti and Gravano have arranged for 4 hitmen to take out the boss. As John Gotti and Sammy Gravano keep watch from across the street, Castellano's car pulls up outside the restaurant. What happens next changes the Gambino crime family forever. John Gotti and Sammy the Bull Gravano have hired 4 hitmen to take out greedy Gambino boss Paul Castellano.
It's saying here that John Gotti and myself hired 4 hitmen. That's not true. Nobody got paid. There was 11 guys brought in for this hit. It was me, it was John Gotti, it was Frankie the Chico. These were the main players in it. Angelo Ruggiero was in it. There was a bunch of guys. It was 11. There was backup shooters, crash cars, getaway cars, and all of us